Hi, it's Paul. Today I'm an old man with my entire fleet of paddle boards, red paddle boards, not sponsored. And I wanted to talk about equipment mount, accessory mounts. So, here's my oldest board. This is a red Sport 11.3 from 2017. This is my next newest board. This is a red 11-foot compact. This is from 2020. And this one is an 8'6" compact. Sorry, 9'6" compact from 2022. Both of those I bought second-hand on eBay. This one I bought about 2 weeks ago, brand new from Ellis Brigham. Having said that, we're in 2024. It's a 2022 model because it was old stock, so I got it at a good price. Anyway, that has very little to do with the matter in hand. So, I have 3 red paddle boards. This original one, the 11.3 Sport, came with a gear mount on the front of it with an 8mm tapped hole. Odd. The 11-foot compact came with no gear mount. The 9'6" compact came with a 6mm gear mount back here. But if I'm standing on it and I want to speak to camera, if I'm doing a piece to camera, it's looking sort of up my nose, and it's obscured by my arms and everything. So I like my cameras on the front of the board. That doesn't sit well with compact boards, having it on the nose, because you've got to be able to fold the nose. So I tried it on that one, didn't work particularly well. It bends the base too much, so I don't like it. On this one I fitted a cheap Amazon GoPro type mount. I was never particularly happy with it. I don't use GoPro mounts generally. I use RAM mounts, one there and one there. And so I wanted to solve my problem. So on the 9'6" board I added an additional mount about a week ago, and today I'm going to add a mount onto the 11-foot compact somewhere around here. Okay, you can buy the mounts from Red Paddle. There's also an instruction on there, frequently asked questions, about how to, well, it actually says, I think it's re-gluing gear mounts. I'm gluing one for the first time. This is brand new, but same difference. Also, I looked at the Loctite site because Red Paddle recommend using Loctite 401. And if you look at the Loctite 401 site, it also gives you a bit more information about keying the surface, bit of abrasive, so we're going to do that. So this is a combination of me taking the steps that Red Paddle recommend and the steps that Henkel / Loctite recommend. Okay, so I did that one, as I say, about a week ago, and it's fine. Just to say, the gear mount doesn't come with the RAM mount. Gear mount comes with a 6mm tapping. I don't understand the fascination from Red Paddle with metric mounts when the whole world is on 1/4-20 camera mounts, but to be fair, it doesn't particularly worry me. All I do is I get a 6mm RAM mount adapter and it screws straight in. But if you're expecting to screw a 1/4-20 adapter in, it's not going to work. 6mm metric. More waffle. So on the Red Paddle site, what they say is that you should pick the position that you want to put the mount in, and I'm going to put it around about here. You can see on this one that they've actually mounted the gear mount across the strips, and it seems to be okay. I have a suspicion they don't use Loctite 401 when they assemble the board, so I'm guessing this is put on with PVC adhesive rather than Loctite. But my theory is that it should actually stick across there if I want it to. And maybe I'll put that one just next to the band, but maybe this one I'll try putting sort of half across the band and see how we go. You might ask why I put the ring facing inwards, because at some point I might add another one and a temporary handle, particularly on this longer one. I might get a set of kayak wheels from when I'm portaging. What grieves me is having to take everything off the board when I'm portaging locks. I paddle the River Nene a lot, and there's a lot of locks on it. Anyway, completely different subject. We'll deal with that if and when I come to it. Okay, so let's try putting it about here, arbitrary random position. First thing I'm going to do is draw around it. To get my position, and then I'm going to add some tape. No, I'm not. Then I'm going to clean it, which I probably should have done first. Let's just try that again. Okay, first step, I'm going to clean it. I've got some Loctite cleaner. Again, I come from an industry where lots of this stuff was available, so I still have some. If you haven't, I'd have a look around to see what other cleaners can be used. Going to end up rubbing the pen off here, but I'm not particularly worried. I'm going to pay particular attention to the little ledge down here. What I might do is move the camera nearer. Looks a bit better. So again, having cleaned it off, I'm going to draw around it, roughly the same place. And then what I'm going to do is put some tape around it. Having done this one already, this other one, that you now can't see at a camera shot, I'm not convinced the tape is necessary. However, it says to do it on the red paddle instructions, so it's what I'm going to do, because otherwise I wouldn't be repeating their instructions. Okay, that'll do nicely. A step that I'm now going to do, which I found on the Henkel Loctite site, but wasn't on the red paddle site, was to abrade the surface a little bit, much like you would do if you were carrying out a repair and using PVC glue, I think. Just to give it a little bit of a key. And as I say, this isn't on the red paddle site, but it is on, or it's not on the red paddle instructions, but it is on the Henkel Loctite instructions. So you can decide whether that's the step you want to follow or not. I'm going to do the same with the underside of the mount. And because I'm a cautious kind of person, I'm going to take pay particular attention to this bit, where this ring goes, as you can see, it kind of sits out of line. So you have to press it down. Okay, that'll do for that. I'm going to give it a clean over again, just to make sure I've got all the dust off it. Paint doesn't matter, or the ink doesn't matter now, the pen. I'm going to put on some nitrile gloves. Why? Because having glued my fingers and thumbs together with super glue before, I have no intention of doing it again. Okay, now one step, and I can't remember, I think this might have been on the red paddle site, I don't recall, yeah I think it was. What it says is you want to warm up the mount. It's not a particularly warm day today, it's probably about 7 or 8 degrees, maybe 9 degrees at the moment. So I'm going to try and warm this through thoroughly. Again, particularly in this area. Hope you can hear me over the top of the heat gun. And it's starting to soften up nicely, so I'm going to make sure it's warmed right the way through, particularly in this thicker middle area, and give it a bit of heat from the other side. And on the other side of the area where the ring is. You do a little bit on the board itself. Be careful with that because you don't want to end up with a hot air balloon. It's quite warm. Okay, let's go. So I'm going to get my super glue. I'm going to put some on here. I'm going to put a ring around the outside and around all the edge areas. I've done the same with that section. And on we go. What it shows on the red paddle, there you go, already glued my glove to one of the sections. What it shows on the red paddle video is that you should press this down with something like a spoon or something. I didn't get on at all well with that, so this time I'm just going to do it with my fingers and thumbs. I mean, I get it, you'd use the spoon because you wouldn't get your gloves stuck to it, which I just did, so take your own choice. Yeah, definitely got a bit of glove stuck there. Right, now we've done that, just press down all round. And what we want to do is put some weight on it and leave it for 5 hours. What I found was that my roll of duct tape was around about right to spread the load evenly round it, and I found that if I put this 16 kilo kettlebell on top of it, it kind of holds it down all round. I'll manoeuvre it around so it sort of seems to be putting weight even on all sides, and that's it. We now leave it for 5 or 6 hours. I'm off out for the day anyway, so we'll have a look when we come back. Actually, no, whilst I'm still here, what I'm going to do is try and take off these two GoPro mounts, which I don't want on there anymore. Now, generally speaking, this is 3M double-sided sticky pads. Generally speaking, they also will come off with a bit of warmth, but we'll see. I may need to add some mechanical assistance. One. A bit more warmth on that. It's amazing what you can do with a bit of heat. Over the years, I've spent countless hours with solvents and scrapers and goodness knows what else trying to do stuff like this. That's plenty hot now, and it just ends up making a mess. It's tight, but that's coming. That's just about bearable to the touch. I wouldn't want to get it any hotter than that. I'll use a bit of this cleaner. Clean up around it, and you'd never know it was there. Okay, see you in 5 hours. Sometime later then, back home. Didn't make an audio file to go with this one at the time, editing this on afterwards. Lifted the weight off, took the duct tape off, checked it all around, and it seems stuck, so take off the masking tape, and I'm pretty happy with that. I think it's worked okay. So what we'll now do is go and get the ram mount, and I'll screw the ram mount into it. Back in a sec. As I mentioned before, this is a ram mount with a 6mm thread size on it. Always use genuine ram mounts now, because I've bought the cheap ones off eBay and Amazon before and they just don't last. I buy mine usually from a firm called sportouring.com, I think it is. I'll put a link in the description because they seem to have about the best prices. The ram mount comes with spanner flats on it, but I just clamp on one of the extension arms, tighten that up and use that to tighten it down, and it seems fine. So that's it. My entire process done. All good to go. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.